Okay, now we're going to be creating a scatter plot in Excel. We're going to be using the Dane County Homes for Sale page. I've already opened it up to the Madison page, and hopefully you can edit the data by enable editing if that appears for you. And you've saved it to your desktop as per all the other videos that we've done. Now we're going to go through and create a scatter plot with prices on the y-axis and square footage on the x-axis. So because they're not side by side, if we had a scatter plot where you have got the data here for the x-coordinate and then here for the y-coordinate, right side by side, you could highlight them both and Excel would be much easier to deal with. But because of the fact that we have prices here and then we have square footage way over on a different column, we have to do something a little bit different here. So I'm going to highlight all of the data for the prices, all down to 850 data points. And then we're going to go and insert tab, the little dot, the chart with all the little dots on it called insert scatterplot XY. And then we've got lots of options, and we're going to go and pick the first one. Now, the way that this data is organized right now is row 1 is here, row 2 is here, row 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way out to 851 over on this end. So on the horizontal axis, it's by not the row number, but how far we are down into the data. So we've got the prices on the right column, we've got the label, fairly good. Prices versus square footage in Madison Homes for Sale. Okay, whoops. So what we want to go through and do is change the y values, sorry, the x values on each of these. So I'm going to right click on a data point, any point will do, and you'll get the following dialog box. Whoops, let's go and right click on a data point up here so you can see it better. And we'll get lots of choices. Now, when we were going and doing histograms, we were doing format data series. When we were trying to change some of the data, you select data. In this case, we'll be using select data, and in a few minutes, at the very last step, we'll be using add trend line. So anytime you want to modify things, you're going to go and right click on a box or a data point. We're going to choose the select data. Now, because we've got prices, we're going to edit the data. And the first one's pulled off because it was a categorical value, a price. Excel decided to go and place that as the name, and all the rest are from C2 all the way to C851, it put down in the Y values, which is what we want. Now we want to go through and edit all the X values, and we want to go and highlight everything that's in the C column, the H column. Now, I'm purposely screwing up right here. So what we have is, notice that the X values goes from row 1 to 851, which doesn't match up from row 2 to 851. Excel's not going to know what to do, so it's either going to try and do what I want it to, or it's going to go and crap out and leave it as it is. So when I click OK, it's going to say fine, and you don't see anything change. And the reason why is Excel doesn't know what to do with it. So if I right-click on the data points, select data again, and edit the data points, let's go and change that to row 2. And now when I hit OK, it will automatically put it down at the bottom where the picture was, and you'll end up having square footage where we want it to be. So now we're almost done. All I want to go through and do is just edit it a little bit by adding on axes. We want to change that to square footage. And then maybe add on the axis here, and we want that to be price. Whoops, helps if I can spell. Let's try it again. There we go. And there we go. There's our chart. Now, what we're going to be doing in later chapters is we're going to be going and trying to find what's the relationship between these two quantitative variables on the x-axis and on the y-axis. So what we're going to do is add a trend line. So if we go and we click on this, any data point, I'll go and click on a data point up here so that you can see it better. We're going to add trend line. And then we've got all of these options. The automatic default is linear functions, which is what we want. Scroll all the way down if you don't have your window opened up large enough, which I don't because I was trying to limit the video size. And we're just going to click on the last two things, put on the equation and what's called the R-squared value. Then we'll X out of that and add them onto our graph and just move them over a little bit. And we'll talk about what those mean later on. But I just wanted to show you how to go about doing it. When I ask you to go and create a scatter plot, I don't care about this last bit until we get to later chapters. Hope this was helpful. Good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.